The question is not what is a fight. The question is where is the fight? The fight is within you. The fight is out there. In the deeper recesses, the outer spaces. The fight is in your eyes and also far beyond it. It is in the known and the unknown. The ticking clocks, the dreams bursting at the seams, the plans that come to naught. The everyday, the mundane, the splendid and the boring. In the days gone by and the time yet to come. The fight is where you see one. It is where you don't. The fight is if there is a fight. Fight for hope. Fight for pride. Fight for darkness. Fight for light. Fight for the margins. Fight for the one in the middle. Find your fight. Fight.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to be speaking here today. We've heard some amazing people, very inspiring stories. It's been an eye-opener for us, basically. Now, in the video, we talked about, at the end, there was this thing in the voiceover that said, find your fight. I guess we've found ours in Virender's fight. We've been trying to, talk about this issue to the people, but the fact is that we're not activists. We're not people who started out as someone, working on issues. We were basically students, 22-year-olds, bored of their chartered accountancy and MBA curriculums, trying to, make films. We were passionate about making films. So it started like that. I mean, we'd made a film previously, a small 18-minuter, where we got some training from the people who'd funded the film. So now we were working on this project about the Uttar Pradesh Mritak Sangh, which is the Association of the Dead in Uttar Pradesh. It's a very intriguing story that we were working on about land mafia. When on the 12th of September 2012, we came across this article written by Rudranil Sengupta of Mint. The article was titled Tough Enough. It was about two athletes. One is Girisha Nagarajagowda, who was here last year. And the other was Virender Singh, who's here with us today. Now this article basically talked about their journeys, Girisha's silver medal in the Paralympics and Virender's success in all the deaf competitions in the world. We read that article, we were really intrigued by that story, so we thought, let's shoot Rudranil a mail and then we'd see. We're currently working on this other project. If we get time, we'll probably come back to this film. So we shot an email to Rudranil. We got just, as an afterthought, forgot completely about it. We were working on that Mritak Sangh film when suddenly a couple of calls came from Azamgarh, where the film was based in Uttar Pradesh, threatening us to stop working on that particular film because, and we were 22-year-olds, no experience in journalism, no experience in filmmaking, no real contact. So we said, boss, this is not our thing. So let's concentrate on a less riskier story. So we, started searching about Virender. We just started looking up stuff. And we thought, why not make a film on this guy? 4 international medals at that point in time Virender had got. Virender, also there was a disability in the mix. Now, as ignorant as we may sound, we thought it might make a great film. So that is how we started on that and started thinking seriously about making that film on Virender.
He talked about Virender's achievements and his winning 4 international medals. So as every diligent researcher would have done, I was in Delhi back then, so I started researching him and I went to that one definitive source of all modern knowledge. I Googled him. And when I Googled him, there was nothing on him. Like there was no trace of somebody called Virender Singh. Nobody knew him. I typed in Virender Singh the wrestler. It told me to go to Vijender Singh the wrestler. And so basically we tried looking out for him, but there was nothing on him. And meanwhile, the journalist had replied to our email. And we got in touch with him. And because I was in Delhi and they were in Ahmedabad, I went to meet him. And so I landed at the Chhatrasal Stadium, which is known as the laboratory for producing international wrestlers. It has produced Sushil Kumar and Yogesh Padatt also. So I go in and for 20 minutes I am going around this place asking for a Virender Singh and nobody knows this guy. And I was like, did I get this wrong? I mean, I thought this was the place where he trained. And so I looked for him and I can't really find him. And after 20 minutes, I'm almost about to give up. And I easily stood out in a sea of singlet-clad, muscled men. And this very imposing figure walks up to me and says, "Boss, what are you doing here? What brings you here?" And I'm like, "I'm looking for a Virender Singh." And this man looked like an authority. So I thought this man would know. If this guy doesn't know, then no possibility that he's here. So I asked him if he knew a Virender Singh, and he said, "Virender Singh?" And no, he's not here. And he asked me to leave. And almost as an afterthought, I asked him, I read about this article called, somebody called Gunga Pahalwan. He said, "Oh, Gunga, you want to meet Gunga? So you should have told that to me, you know." So I said, "Yeah, Gunga. So finally I had somebody to talk to. And I said, "I want to meet Gunga." And then this other wrestler who also interprets for him, he's his cousin brother, he took me along with him to meet Virender. And he was training, and that was the first time I was seeing him. And it was an inspiration. That story, that piece, you have to read it. It was an inspiration. So I told him that it was really inspiring for me and I was close by and I wanted to meet him. And even though we had discussed the idea, the remote idea of making a film on him, but we did not want to disclose it because a film is a long process. We didn't want to say it to him and then not go through with it. But he was extremely warm. Like he hugged me the moment I walked in and I was like, whoa, I mean. And then he started talking through the interpreter to me and it was very heartwarming. And in all the excitement, I blurted it out that we want to make a film on you. And he's like, "Yeah, when do you want to begin? We can start now." And I said, "See, that's not really how it works, but we'll have to work on it, we'll have to research the story, and then we'll start working on it." So this was one of the most important reasons why we wanted to work on the film. His excitement, his want to say his story, because he said that before you guys came, there was nobody who came to me. There was no video, no articles on me. There was one article, but he said it was this need of wanting to say his story that really drew us to him. So that's where the idea of the film really started.
तो हम लोग ने फिर बाद में तय किया कि हम लोग इनके ऊपर फिल्म बना रहे, तो वी स्टार्टेड रिसर्चिंग। उनके साथ हम पूरे दिन स्टेडियम में रहते थे। वो सुबह 4:30 बजे से रेसलिंग शुरू करते, प्रैक्टिस शुरू करते, तो हम उनके साथ हमने शुरुआत में कोई इंटरव्यूज नहीं, उनसे कोई बात नहीं, सिर्फ उनकी लाइफ हम फॉलो करते थे। शुरुआत से लेकर अंत तक, रात को 9 बजे तक जितना भी उनका शेड्यूल होता है, सुबह से शाम उनके साथ रहते थे और उनके साथ जो भी प्रैक्टिस करते थे वो डॉक्यूमेंट करते थे। तो एज अ फिल्म मेकर हमको लगा कि स्टोरी काफ़ी अपीलिंग है, क्योंकि तब जब हम बना रहे थे तब 4 इंटरनेशनल मेडल्स, 4 इंटरनेशनल अपीयरेंसेस, 100% सक्सेस रेशियो, तो भी आज तक कोई भी गवर्नमेंट रिकॉग्निशन नहीं, कोई भी गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट नहीं। तो एज ए फिल्म मेकर हमको लगा कि यार ये तो सख्त सैड स्टोरी है, बहुत मजा आएगी एज ए फिल्म, लोग हिल जाएंगे। तो हम लोग ने इनके साथ बाद में आफ्टर 8 months वी स्टार्टेड इंटरव्यूइंग हिम। हम लोग ने पूरी स्टोरी लाइन उस तरीके से बनाई थी। तो इंटरव्यू हम ले रहे थे, हमने पूरा बिल्डअप ऐसे किया कि आप इतना डिफिकल्ट होता है, आप छत्रसाल स्टेडियम में 150 रेसलर्स हैं, 150 रेसलर्स, और उनमें से सिर्फ ये एक डेफ है, तो आपको कितना मुश्किल लगता है। और हमने पूरा बिल्डअप किया कि एक सैड आंसर आएगा और पूरी फिल्म हम यू टर्न ले लेंगे। तो हमने बाद में एक मास्टर क्वेश्चन पूछा इनको कि हाउ डू यू फील अबाउट बीइंग डेफ। तो हम ऐसा सोच रहे थे कि बहुत इमोशनल आंसर आएगा, और उन्होंने बोला आई एम हैप्पी, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, क्योंकि जो बोलते हैं वो कितना बोलते हैं, जो सुनते हैं यार बोल के तो मैं थक जाता शायद इतना सुन के। शायद मेरा सिर दर्द होने लगा कि इतना सारा सुनता। मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, जब मैं बोलता हूँ किसी को मैं डेफ हूँ तो लोग मुझे प्यार करते हैं, मेरे साथ फोटो खिंचाते हैं। तो मैं बहुत खुश हूँ। और दिस आंसर, ये आंसर ने हमारे पूरे डिसेबिलिटी के परसेप्शन को चेंज कर दिया, हमारी पूरी स्टोरी को बदल दिया। हमको लगा था कि ये स्टोरी सैड स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स पे एंड करेगी, पर नहीं, हमको लगा कि यहाँ पे एक ट्रू चैंपियन है, उसको एज ए ट्रू चैंपियन इसको पोर्ट्रे करेंगे, एज ए ट्रू चैंपियन इनको लोगों के सामने बाहर लाएंगे। और हमने पूरे फिल्म के दौरान ऐसे ही किया। और पर्सनली भी ये आंसर हमको काफ़ी इंस्पायर कर गया, क्योंकि हम ऐसा सोचते हैं कि ये तो कोई भी डिसेबल लोग को हम देखते हैं तो हम ऐसा सोचते हैं कि ये डिसेबल है, हम उनको थोड़ा अच्छी तरीके से ट्रीट करते हैं, पर एज इन वो खुद तो अपने अंदर चैंपियन ही समझते हैं और वो खुद को वर्ल्ड को फाइट करने की 100% जज्बा रखते हैं।
Meet rightly pointed out that we saw a champion in Virender, but the problem was not everyone saw that. I mean, we were talking to Tom Alter Saab, the Padma Shri Tom Alter Saab, about the voiceover for this film. I mean, we ended up not using any voiceovers, but we initially talked to him about the voiceover for this film. And while talking to him, he asked a very pertinent question. He said that if he's as good as you say, if he's as good as Sushil Kumar, if he's as good as the other wrestlers in India, then why does he have to use his disability as a shield and participate only in the competitions for the deaf? Why doesn't he go to the normal competitions? Now, as Firoz yesterday pointed out, for those who were there, according to us, according to the bureaucracy, according to the coaches, according to Virender himself, according to the law, the only problem that is that he cannot hear the whistle. Now, there is people would ask, what is the relation between deafness and disability? Deafness and wrestling. The thing is that he cannot hear the whistle. In wrestling, the cues for starting, stopping, and the foul are given by whistle. But the international law says that the same cues can be given by touch too. International body allows deaf athletes to participate in normal competitions. So then what is the problem? The problem is that in the competitions in the district, state, and nationals, he does not get such referees who could probably give him visual and tactile cues. So that is why he cannot participate, and there have been numerous incidents where this has happened. About ability, we ourselves had questions in the beginning. Yes, definitely we can be sympathetic towards him and say, boss, he's a great wrestler and he should be sent to the Olympics. But what about the ability? How do we say that he is able enough? So we traveled with him. Before we started interviewing him, before we started interviewing anyone for the film, we traveled for about 6 months with Virender to all the mud wrestling competitions that he participates in across the northern hemisphere of the country, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, everywhere. And we saw him beat, he's 74 kg, we saw him beat wrestlers who are 90 kgs, 100 kgs, 85 kgs, wrestlers who are able-bodied, and competitions, matches that run 18 minutes, 20 minutes. And that is where we saw that there was this ability. Ramphal Singh, the Dronacharya awardee, he's the coach of Sushil Kumar and Yogeshwar Dutt too. He's sitting here, he's the coach of Virender. When we asked him on camera, it is there in the film for those of you who have the DVD of the film, when we asked him, can he get an Olympic medal? Set aside everything, set aside a policy, set aside whether he will be allowed to go or not. Is he good enough? He said, in the wrestlers that are there in the Chhatarsal Stadium, who are the champions in their weight categories, in the wrestlers that are there in India, in his weight category, he can beat any wrestler on his day, and no wrestler can say that Virender is an easy fight. So that is about ability. But the issue is that he does not get a fair opportunity. He does not get a fair opportunity, and that stops him from participating in the normal competitions with the able-bodied wrestlers.
Prateek touched upon... Hello? Hi. Prateek touched upon two very important things here. One was ability, and the other was discrimination against Virender. It was nowhere more clear than the example of 2002, when a young 18-year-old Virender went to the National Cadet Wrestling Championships, came first in the nation, had the gold medal, which gave him an automatic qualification for the world event. So now they call the 3 top wrestlers to Nagpur for a camp. And in the camp, they make him stand with his back to the referee. They don't make him fight. They make him stand with his back to the referee, they blow the whistle, and because he can't hear it, because he doesn't react to the whistle, they say, boss, you're not allowed. The second wrestler in the list will go, even though the international bodies allow for it. So that was his initiation into the discrimination, and that really broke his heart. At the age of 18, he wanted to fight other able-bodied wrestlers. He was as good as anybody in the country, and he's still as good as anybody in the country. But so he said that he cries for days at end, and he couldn't really understand why was he not allowed to, because he fought all these people, he won, and it was his right to go, but then he did not go, and that's where it started. So which brings us to the point as to what exactly does the law say. He touched upon it briefly, but I'll go into it in more detail. The International Olympic Committee and the International Wrestling Body, FILA, these are the two international bodies that are in question here. They allow for deaf athletes to go to international competitions and give them those kind of visual and tactile cues, mostly tapping on the shoulder, to these wrestlers so that they can compete with other able-bodied athletes. On the other hand, the Indian counterparts, the Indian Olympic Association and the Wrestling Federation of India, we talked to the Secretary Generals for the film, and both of them on camera say that it is allowed, and we provide all kinds of assistance, and it is out there, you can see it. And then we filed an RTI, and the RTI says that no, they have a separate competition, and they should participate in the Deaf Olympics only. So there was a lot of confusion there, and it doesn't really happen on the ground. Virender and we've seen that. And so we wanted to know where exactly did the problem lie. So basically the law said that it was possible, but he wasn't really able to do it. So then we talked to a couple of referees who used to refer international competitions. We met an international referee who hails from India called Ashok Sharma, and we asked him, he's been to 35 international competitions by now. We asked him if you know of any provision that allows for deaf athletes to participate in the district, state or nationals in the country. And he says that, I have no idea, I have never seen a deaf athlete, and I don't think that's possible. And then we asked him, if it's very difficult to refer a match, if we give you a deaf athlete who's as good as anybody in the country, will it be difficult for you to refer an athlete of that sort? He said, frankly, we are trained to do hand cues also because it's a part of their refereeing. They also whistle, but they also touch the athletes. So therefore he said that it's only about two signals, the start signal and the stop signal. And between that, it's the fight going on. So basically, it's not really difficult to do it, but it wasn't really possible for Virender to get those kind of referees. So it's an inept bureaucracy, and it's this insensitivity to, so nobody would want to make an exception for this one athlete. And that was really the case on the ground. And therefore, this inept bureaucracy left him in the lurch, and he had to then make do with fighting dangals in the mud wrestling competitions to earn his money.
जैसे विवेक ने बताया कि 2002 का इंसिडेंट खाली वीरेंद्र सिंह के लिए क्वेश्चन नहीं था, हमारे लिए भी क्वेश्चन था कि क्या अगर रूल्स प्रोवाइड करते हैं कि डेफ एथलीट, डिसेबल्ड एथलीट इंटरनेशनल कंपटीशन में पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं, तो इंडिया में से किसी ने पार्टिसिपेट किया हुआ है क्या? इंटरनेशनली कितने लोगों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया हुआ है? तो हम लोग ने गूगल किया, हमने जाना, रिसर्च किया थोड़ा, तो जैसे कि ऑस्कर पिस्टोरिस हाल ही में हुए ओलंपिक्स में उन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया। फिर टमिका कैचिंग्स हैं, यूएसए से बिलोंग करते हैं, उन्होंने 3 बार गोल्ड मेडल जीते हुए हैं डेफ होने के बावजूद। फिर यूगो पासोस हैं जिन्होंने 2004 एथेंस में हुए ओलंपिक्स में पार्टिसिपेट किया था, उन्होंने एज अ डेफ रेसलर पार्टिसिपेट किया था। तो इंटरनेशनली बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स हैं जिन्होंने डिसेबल होने के बावजूद पार्टिसिपेट किया हुआ है, पर अपनी डेफ ब्यूरोक्रेसी की वजह से इनको यहाँ से प्रॉपर अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिल सकती, और इनको ये बिलीव किया गया है कि ये नॉर्मल ओलंपिक्स में पार्टिसिपेट नहीं कर सकता। इसकी वजह से हर एक एथलीट का ड्रीम होता है कि वो ओलंपिक्स में जाए। वो ओलंपिक का ड्रीम कहीं ना कहीं इनमें मर चुका है, खो चुका है। और अगर सही टाइम पे, मेरे हिसाब से यही सही टाइम है, अगर सही टाइम पे प्रॉपर रूल्स, प्रॉपर लॉज अगर नहीं आते हैं, तो शायद हम इनको तो खो देंगे, पर इनके जैसे बहुत सारे डिसेबल्ड लोगों के फेसेस हम नहीं देख पाएंगे एबल बॉडीड कंपटीशन में। तो इनके लिए हम लोग एक मूवमेंट चालू करने मिशन रियो 16, जिनमें हम लोग इस तरीके के एथलीट्स को प्रॉपर प्रोविजंस के थ्रू एबल बॉडीड कंपटीशन के अंदर पार्टिसिपेट करवा सकते हैं।
Now, it is a very utopian situation to talk about Mission Rio 16 and see that these athletes also get an opportunity in the mainstream competitions. Now, the issue with Virender is he's lost his Olympic dream. I mean, he no longer believes that he can go to the Olympics. I mean, while we were interviewing him, in 4 different interview sessions, we tried to tell him that it is allowed. And every time he would say, no, it is not. I know we don't get referees. You are just saying that it is not allowed. I am sorry. Whatever you may believe, I cannot go to the normal Olympics. He's lost his dream. 1, because he did not get referees. 2nd, he no longer wants to fight. If I honestly tell you, he no longer wants to fight in the mainstream competitions. He no longer wants to go to the international competitions. The problem is he has 5 medals under his belt right now. 5 international medals in the 5 international competitions that he's been, and he has only 3 lakh rupees as rewards to show for the 20 years of wrestling that he's put into. I mean, no Arjuna award, no recognition. Yes, there is a job that is being given by the Haryana Power Corporation that gives him 18,000 rupees a month, but he fails to make ends meet. His family is struggling. There are a lot of issues about money. How does a man find courage to continue that sport which has no guarantee that he will, receive anything? The situation is bleak in the disabled sports arena, as we saw. And why? Yes, there have been examples where there have been cash rewards given. For example, Girisha, Devendra Jajare, Deepa Malik. There are a few examples, but that was more due to media pressure and not due to correct government policies. The policies, most of them are vague. The government policies are stacked up against athletes like Virender and other disabled athletes of the country, where they get almost nothing for whatever they've done.
जैसे कि मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ यूथ अफेयर्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स की 2009 की स्पेशल स्कीम ऑफ कैश रिवॉर्ड्स है, जिनमें डिसेबल्ड कम्युनिटी को सिर्फ एक ही जगह मेंशन किया गया है, नॉट एलिजिबल इवेंट्स। उनकी हर एक कंपटीशन को उन्होंने नॉट एलिजिबल इवेंट्स के अंदर कंसीडर किया गया है, जिसके अंदर अगर वो कोई भी इंटरनेशनल कंपटीशन के अंदर मेडल जीत के लाते हैं इंडिया में तो वो कैश रिवॉर्ड के लिए नॉट एलिजिबल है। तो ये चीज़ हमारे हिसाब से एकदम गलत है और हम इसके ऊपर मूवमेंट चालू करना चाहते हैं। दूसरी बात, जब हमको पता चला कि सेंटर में से कोई ऐसी पॉलिसी नहीं है तो हमने थोड़ा और डीप में गए, हम लोग स्टेट की पॉलिसीज ढूंढने के लिए गए। तो स्टेट, काफ़ी सारी स्टेट की पॉलिसी है ही नहीं स्पोर्ट्स पॉलिसीज, और कई जगह पे पॉलिसीज हैं तो वेग हैं। ऐसी रिसर्च में हमको एक चीज़ पता चली, जॉबी मैथ्यूज जो केरला से बिलोंग करते हैं, वो इंटरनेशनल काफ़ी मेडल जीत के लाए हैं, उनको स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने रिवॉर्ड दिया 1 लाख रुपए, और उनको रिवॉर्ड का हेड था उनके चीफ मिनिस्टर्स कैलेमिटी फंड। तो उन्होंने एक क्वेश्चन रेज किया, क्या मेरी मेडल की जीत स्टेट की कैलेमिटी थी? क्योंकि प्रॉपर प्रोविजंस नहीं है, प्रॉपर रिवॉर्ड्स नहीं है। एक चीज़ बहुत अच्छी हुई है आज के पूरे सेंटर में कि हरियाणा स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने एट पार कैश रिवॉर्ड्स कर दिए हैं एबल बॉडीड एथलीट्स और फिजिकली चैलेंज एथलीट्स को। जब ये न्यूज़ आई तो वीरेंद्र काफ़ी खुश था, हम भी काफ़ी खुश थे कि भाई चलो अगर 2013 में अभी जो डेफ ओलंपिक्स होने वाले हैं, अगर उसमें कोई एक मेडल आता है तो शायद इनकी सारी कैश की परेशानियां दूर हो जाएगी। तो वी वर रियली होपफुल कि 2013 में शायद अब ये सब खत्म हो जाएगा, क्योंकि अब एट पार कर दिया है। तो जैसे ही वो गोल्ड मेडल जीत के लाए, उन्होंने स्टेट गवर्नमेंट में अप्लाई किया। जब अप्लाई किया तो उनको ये आंसर दिया जाता है कि जो भी पॉलिसी में है उस तरीके से आपको मिला जाएगा। अब पॉलिसी यहाँ पे काफ़ी वेग है, क्योंकि उन्होंने मेंशन किया है फिजिकली चैलेंज, और फिजिकली चैलेंज के अंदर उन्होंने सिर्फ पैरालंपियंस को कंसीडर किया गया है। अब आईओसी सैंक्शन्ड इवेंट्स होती है जिसके अंदर स्पेशल ओलंपिक्स, पैरालंपिक्स, डेफ ओलंपिक्स एबल बॉडीड ओलंपिक्स, सॉरी यस। सो चारों को कंसीडर करना चाहिए, पर सिर्फ पैरालंपिक्स को उन्होंने कंसीडर किया गया है। डेफ ओलंपिक्स का कहीं पे मेंशन ही नहीं है। अगर कहीं पे मेंशन ही नहीं है तो वो कहीं से भी कैश रिवॉर्ड्स नहीं ले सकते हैं। इसकी वजह से ना तो सेंटर से ना तो स्टेट से आज भी उनकी सिचुएशन सेम है, ना कहीं से कैश रिवॉर्ड्स, ना कहीं से कोई रिकॉग्निशन, ना कहीं से कोई अवार्ड।
To summarize the situation, he goes to the Deaf Olympics, gets medals, gets nothing for it. If he has to get money for it, he has to either go to the Paralympics or the Olympics. The Paralympics does not have deafness as a listed disability, so he can't go to the Paralympics. But he can go to the Olympics. But because he's not allowed, because of a lot of things, he can't go to the Olympics. So the cash situation, for the money situation for disabled athletes is very bleak, especially for Virendra that we know. So now what do we want? We've told you about the issue. We've told you everything about what we feel about the issue. But what do we want out of this? So we three and the people along with us, we are going in the process of filing a public interest litigation in the Supreme Court, asking for 2 specific provisions. There might be lawyers here who would know more than me, but we're really looking at 2 baby steps here. One is in the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports policy that he just mentioned. There's the non-eligible events, which is an absolutely derogatory term. This is a competition that sees 100 countries participating. So these are in no way closed events, and therefore we feel that there should be a change, and they should either have one of 2 things. Either make a specific policy for disabled athletes or get them at par with other able-bodied athletes. They can decide what to do. But one of these has to happen. Secondly, which is about equal access and opportunity, we think that we've called it the Mission Rio 16, where we attempt to take Virender through the right mechanism to the Rio 16 Olympics. There, what we want to do is to get the specific provision that can get him those kind of referees that will allow him to reach the Olympics. So these are the 2 broad things that we want to do. So we've made this film for the last 14 months. We've worked on this film for the last 14 months. And there's a personal angle involved for me in it, and which I haven't ever spoken about before. My mother is also deaf, and when I was growing up, I was a little uncomfortable about it. I did not want to have friends over because I couldn't ever tell them that she was deaf, and that it was a little uncomfortable situation for me, and I didn't really like it in a way. But during the course of making this film, and there was this particular incident between my mother and Virendra that really taught me. He just told me that don't be overprotective. Just let her be. Strengthen her, love her, but just let her be. Just let her be the person that she wants to become. And that was one of the most important lessons that I've learned during filming this. We are very thankful to everybody who's seen the film and loved the film, and we're thankful to the India Inclusion Summit for having us here. For a lot of people who ask us as to what we can do for the cause and how we can help, we would just like to say that we are trying it, and all of us can try to be the whistle, and we can blow the whistle on a deaf bureaucracy, and maybe come 2016, all of us and 1.5 billion people will be rooting for the man who will be there in the Rio Olympics 2016, and maybe he can get the gold for us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I would request Virender to come on the stage and probably address the audience, give them a message.
I'm very happy and thanks to all. Love you all. To all my deaf friends, I'm very happy to see all of you and also non-disabled to help to make movie. I'm very surprised and happy to see all of my friends who have made all videos and all, and very happy. For deaf or disabled, all kind of disability, in my heart, okay, it's very nice and very happy. I'm sure disability is not important. What God made, see, all disabled together, all are equal. No, there is no inequality in God's eyes. Thanks to all.